Welcome to the stream. We're going to work on a few things today. But right now, I want to just show off a little bit of something I've been working on. This is our ocelot habitat. I'm trying to think, I actually don't think I... Oh shoot, I need... Oops, that's not what I was... That's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm doing at all. This is what you do when you don't prepare fully. Oh shoot. Now I should be connected to the right live stream. Should be. What's happening? Okay, whatever. That's weird. Well, anyways, I think I've decided I don't like the plants being up here. I'd rather have... rather have this be pretty bare. I'm realizing this, I think this will actually look better if it goes up like so. Then we can just grab this. then we can have this as our... Yeah, weird stuff is happening there. It's no big deal. No, I meant to get a Dr. Pepper while I was... before I started this live stream. Go grab that. Just 1 second. There we go. And then we grab this. We rotate it. And then let's get this all... let's rotate this like so. Then something like this on this side. We can make this that grayish color. This is making me realize this needs to get pushed back a little further. Okay, boom. We've now got something. They should be able to climb all up on this. Or at least on a good portion of it. If not, we can always get the climbing frame to go up there as well. And I want kind of this to look like the jungle is encroaching on this temple. In fact, I might also have a terrace over here. kind of nice to have the terrace up that high. This way, we can kind of have that cohesive. I should probably would need to grab all of that, bring it all there, then grab all these pieces. We'll probably have to use something to round out the edges there. The idea is that the jungle is going to take over this old Mayan temple. That's kind of the theming here. How far can we push this in before it starts? Yeah, something like that. Don't want it to be too boring, but also that's kind of starting to look good. We move this in place. See if we can get that out of the way. Then boom. I do like this? Trying to think. Trying to think exactly how we want to make this work. Because I want these two walls here to not look like temple too much. So it's just going to be this back wall, really. And then we just won't have one of those at the top. Kind of like this. Then we sink that like so. Yeah, and then we'll put some like bromeliads and stuff in that back wall. And then the let's see. Obviously, we're gonna have to bring out some of this from that wall, but I want to see what we can get here in terms of. Make this look like a riverbank or something? I don't know. Let's see what we can do. Let's change this to like a... Ooh, maybe we can... Boom. That kind of brings the jungle in a little bit. Of course, that's going to need a ton of texture work. Let's see if we can get this going. So we'll have to add like strangler figs and everything to this. But first I want to try it out on this side. Alright, let's keep working on this background wall. It right now looks very plain. But we will, of course, make it way more interesting as we go along. Make ledges for the ocelots to climb onto. This kind of hides the shift gate a little bit. All right. I don't know what. So it's leaning down a little bit. I want to make this a little bit different for each one of these so that it's not too set up on that. But let's see. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That kind of hides that back wall. Let me go grab my Dr. Pepper. All right, we are back with Dr. Pepper in tow. You'll get to hear the pop. Very necessary. So now I think let's start tying things together. We know for a fact we want mulch covering pretty much all of this. Then it starts getting a little bit spottier in here as it gets closer to the temple. The jungle hasn't taken over completely yet. Then, I mean, most of this will be some scaevola underbrush. And then let's get some grunge. I think we can have look like dirt. Maybe moss. A little bit of mossy tones in it as well. Oops, this is supposed to be a random rotation. Because I'd like this to be as organic as possible. We go. See if I can actually get these into these cracks. That could make this look more cohesive. It kind of brings it into alignment with that. I'll actually be going to a zoo this weekend that I've never been to as well. That's going to be something exciting happening this weekend. I'm going to the Audubon Zoo, which I've heard pretty good things about. Been voted in the top 10 of US zoos. We'll see if it lives up to the hype of, I think it's Reader's New Daily or something like that. Okay, so now that's in there. Now let's get faux rocks in. We're of course going to add tons of these in here. So kind of get this all in place. A little bit of habitat immersion through here. Nothing too crazy. But we're going to need to do the glass on this side as well. But we'll get to that in a second. Let's see what we can do getting this all sorted. Now, of course, these rocks aren't going to stay this color. That would be a little bit gross. They're not going to be the only things in this wall. Probably a good place to end that one. Then let's grab the color from one of our other rocks right here. So if we come in here, grab that. Now we want to get strangler fig roots because that's going to add a lot more interest to these. Hmm. That's kind of coming along. Like here? We might want to hold off on a ton of planting on this, but until we figure out exactly how we want the habitat itself, climbing frames and stuff to go, but it's starting to come all together. That's kind of bringing it in line. Let's see. This is definitely an interesting climbing frame. Just kind of letting the piece take me where it wants to go. Whether that's a good thing or not, we have yet to determine. Make this go in other directions as well, but I want to see, because Eben used this same piece and got all of his stuff to climb well. So I want to see if I can as well. Certainly acts like she can climb all of it. Now let's see. Put it to the real test. Okay, let's get these branches sort of figured out, and we might use the liana vines as well, branching off of this. Let's see. Ocelot should be able to climb those. Right, now the question is, can the Ocelot now climb onto that ledge? Oh my gosh, it can. Now it did break. Broken other climbing frame parts. So you gotta figure out what those are. Perfect. Still looks good too. Um, let's see. Kind of don't want to build off of that one too much. Maybe like here. We know we need to make sure that this barely touches. don't know why you can't climb on that. There we go. This would be such a cool view of the ocelot. I don't know why this decides to connect in the most non-comprehensible manner, but it does. We need something to come down to the ground again. All right. See if we can fit this all together. On play this entire time. He's just laying. She's just laying down. Hey, thanks, Dad. Appreciate you tuning in. We are working on this ocelot habitat, which is the start of our rescued exotic pets section / invasive species that were captured in Florida. But this guy's more of a, oh look, this guy used to be native to Florida, but a long time ago. Okay, so it looks like he can use all of this. Can I plop you on top of here? No. So this is kind of an old style building, which we still gotta figure out exactly what we want the roof to look like. It's still very boring right now, but it kind of get the idea of it's an old style road that used to be like a shop, has been converted to a habitat. Speaking of habitat, let's grab... Can he not use the... that's unfortunate. Let's see. Climbable. And there's these pieces, which... Looks like it's still climbable there. You can still go up there, which is cool. And if I put him up there, maybe she will climb. Yeah. There we go. She will either climb or she will jump off. Hopefully climb. Let's see. Oh, there she goes. Perfect. Perfect. This is where it's going to get tricky. Yeah. Okay. Could be worse. Little janky, but... Let's get a tree from our bird area. Like one of these custom trees here. This zoo is getting quite large now. It's quite cool to see. As we're kind of, sort of, nearing the finish. Those really aren't big enough for the ocelot, in my opinion. I'm trying to think, do we need any more climbing? Maybe. I feel like this tree might do the best climbing for us. Ooh, ooh, ooh. if we can get a better. Perfect. Let's get that as a screenshot. Now I want to see if, what if we take this, put it like there. Hey Forge, we are working on our ocelot habitat. Oh please. Please not have broken everything. Apparently my dad's in the chat as well, so. Now to get out of there he has to climb, or she has to climb now. That's perfect. Yeah, I got them in a store, and the lore for them is, or for her, is she was an exotic pet. And now she is a kind of explanation of how ocelots were once native to Florida. And she can actually use all this climbing space, which is great. So the idea is that this is what was maybe once Old Main Street, and because the zoo is supposed to be set in historic Dothan, and so the old Main Street has kind of been converted into like a visitor center. This used to be a cycling shop, and then this used to be some other store. This is actually slightly based off of the building my dad designed. Slightly. But I did not actually build this building, one of my subscribers did. So now I've been using Callum's metal pole technique that he used for his Land of Lemurs recreation, because the glass on that has been so clean. Yeah, it's actually kind of the whole basis of this zoo is that's the town. Nice. Oh hey, Monkey's Tavern. Yeah, Monkey's Tavern. He's in the Twitch chat. But he's the guy who built it. We did a few edits, and I did the interior, but yeah, the whole idea of the zoo was me going to the beach and, oh, that's not the same color. Me going to the beach and seeing all these historic buildings and being like, these are really cool. And then I already knew I wanted to do a ZSU zoo because when I was at the beach, I was watching Hope Harbor videos. Yeah. Tag team. There we go. And you'll be watching out this weekend because Captain Callum is going to be doing a video where I think he's going to explain how to do this technique of wall. I kind of figured it out from pictures he sent. Yeah, I figured it out from pictures that he sent. Yeah, I really like it. My next ZSU zoo, I don't have as much lore ready. Also, I'm really liking the output backwood recently, which is why I explained it to you. Let's do a peek behind the curtain and I can show y'all something. What I'm working for the international event for ZSU. do a little peek behind into the scenes. Well, first off, I guess we can see. There we go. Yeah, so this is not the international event, but this is our map event, which we do need to work on finishing this aquarium building. So we're just talking basically about how Alabama has the highest diversity of any U.S. state on freshwater fish. The state of Alabama actually has more fish species, or no, the Cahaba River. So one river in Alabama has more fish than all the rivers in, or all of California. So we're just talking about how sports fishing can aid in conservation. So we're hoping to pick up the spotted bass, the shoal bass, and Forge, you've probably seen this in the ZSU servers, but Monkey's Tavern and them haven't really seen kind of what happens behind the scene. And then we've got these different tanks for chain pickerels, bullheads, drums, and all these other fish that kind of go in this central area. These are all the fish that we're trying to get. And now we're talking about America's Amazon, which is the Cahaba River. And we're talking about, in general, the different habitats of Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. So it goes from the Appalachian Mixed Mesophytic Forest, the Appalachian Blue Ridge Mountains, or Blue Ridge Forest, Central U.S. Hardwood Forest, Southeastern Mixed Forest, Coastal Atlantic Forest, I think is what it's called, Southeastern Conifer Forest, Florida Scrub, Everglades, and Florida Rockland. So basically, we're going to be doing a different episode for each one of those. So a season of 9 episodes, where Bobby Woods will talk about packaging and making it guest friendly. Wyatt Lloyd will talk about animal facts. Georgina Adams will talk about conservation in the area, and Reagan Meadows will talk about how we build for the species in tri-state. And then in our mixed mesophytic forest, we'll talk about bog turtles. The Appalachian Blue Ridge Forest will talk about the Alleghanian skunk. Central U.S. Hardwood Forest, the red-tailed hawk. The Middle Atlantic Coastal Forest, we'll talk about Virginia opossum. Southeastern Mixed Forest, wood ducks. The Southeastern Conifer Forest, the gopher tortoise. The Florida Scrub, we're going to talk about the indigo snake. And the Everglades, we'll talk about the American alligator. And I just realized I didn't add the edge to that one, so it looks a little dorky. And then the South Florida Rocklands, we're going to talk about the northern mockingbird. But that's enough of that. And I'm hoping to get the indigo bunting, Baltimore oriole, white-throated sparrow, house finch, and American goldfinch, which are kind of our mid-tier songbirds. Everything above that's going to be some high-tier stuff, so I'll have to get it in the next event, which should include high tiers. So, of course, we're going to cover a bunch of this undergrowth with scabiolic. It's the only thing I know how to do for tropical forest. It's just... I hope I'm pronouncing it right, but... it's probably my favorite tropical plant. That and the Swiss cheese. And kind of the elephant ears now that the foliage remaster makes them look really good. I really wish we had a smaller one of these that wasn't so that was a little bit more on the ground, but oh well. So yeah, the premise of this habitat is it's a Mayan temple that's being taken over by the forest again. But the signage is going to be all about how ocelots used to be able to be found in Florida and Alabama. I think Georgia as well. Um, trying to remember what species these are actually called in real life. There's a guy I watch who's built a giant greenhouse that has these guys all in them. They're so cool. I know his name is A Life Exotic. I'm sure you would enjoy him, Forge. Just well, I'm sure anyone here would probably enjoy him because he's built a huge greenhouse for. I think he's got dart frogs in there for sure. He's got some species of snake. I don't remember the species. I think it's a cribbo of some sort. Now, I think the elephant ear might be a terrain blocking plant, so we'll have to check. To be fair, I don't actually care too much as long as they can still climb to the areas that I want them to be able to go. Oh, but yeah, we're still so fine. I guess it does not block terrain. I'm beyond happy with how this enclosure's looking. We still need something over here because this looks, even though I added that moss, it still looks pretty plain. Oh. Okay. Um, the ocelot would be very hard to find in here. This background wall isn't even finished, and I'm really liking it already. I might lighten it up a little bit, but so we've got a lot happening here. This area is pretty clear, so we'll need something over here. Hmm. Kind of fits the theme of being up against, like, the forest taking over. I wonder if it's too much. Yeah. It's just say put that there, adds a little bit of interest there without being too crazy. All right, now we need some color. So I think lobster claw is probably how we're going to achieve this. Yeah, I don't know if you heard, Forge, but I'm going to be going to the Audubon Zoo this Sunday. So we'll have to see how that goes. Um, I'm pretty excited. I've never been to New Orleans. Yeah, I've heard it's. I keep seeing that it's ranked in the top 10. Um, but the Google Earth walkthroughs I've seen have not impressed me a ton. They do have some rare species. Unfortunately, the rarest species that I most would want to see is off exhibit right now. Because I'd love to see a Bornean earless monitor. Because that's just like, I love monitor lizards, and that's true. NC's #1 according to the same ranking. I think it's like US Reader's Digest maybe or something like that that ranked it like that. And this would be NC being ranked #1 for 2 times in a row. Yeah, that's true. But I feel like if it's only based off, I get that, but also it seems weird that like the Ashboro Zoo would win, because it's not like there's a. I don't think that's. How big is Ashboro? Yeah, that's what I always think. When I was younger, I always thought it was East Coast Cincinnati and then West Coast um, San Diego. But I'm wondering if um, I'm wondering if North Carolina got so many points because it's very different than a lot of the other zoos in that it's like massive enclosures for a lot of the stuff. Like I think I was talking with Captain Callum, and I think he was saying that North Carolina has 40 acres for its African elephants. Well, that too. Which, for the most part, is probably fair. I think there are zoos that do dolphins well. Yeah, because I think from what I can gather, North Carolina is pretty much every enclosure is like it would be hard for even the hardest, like the biggest anti-zoo people to say, "Oh yeah, North Carolina, um, the species are kept in too small exhibits," because like yeah, that's a zoo I'd love to go to. The Ohio Zoo I've been to has been Cincinnati because it was kind of closer to Louisville, which was we went to like Mammoth Cave um, and Cincinnati. I'm not far away from calling this enclosure done. I still got to figure out exactly how I want to do this. Nice. I did like that zoo when we went. If I remember correctly, um, it kind of had some bear grotto-esque enclosures, but it still was a very good zoo, in my opinion. I think I put it in B tier, but I only put it there because I feel like I'd have to revisit it to fully give it faithful ranking. I actually use your zoo tier ranking list for AZA because everyone in Goron was making their EU list. Yeah. I know my zoo is not making it into any top 10 list, but I think it does pretty well. Okay, nice to hear. I keep hearing that Cincinnati keeps updating everything, which is crazy because I remember being so impressed with it. To be fair, I was a kid. My local zoo just, if it sim, mm, for me, of zoos that I've been to, it's definitely Cincinnati is my number one. I've been to Memphis, but I remember almost nothing from Memphis, so I don't think I can count it. Gotcha. Yeah, you've probably been to a lot more zoos than I have. At least ones that I can remember. I've been to a lot of the same ones. Um, mm, yeah, I'm hoping I'll go sometime soon. Okay. Yeah, if my zoo just updates its orangutan habitat, it'll be in a good spot. So that's the only enclosure that they have that I think is atrocious. And it's unfortunate that it's for a species like orangutans that really need a good enclosure. That's the saddest part. Like their elephant exhibit is easily, probably, if I'd have to guess, it ranks in the top 10 of US zoos elephant habitats. Um, it was a bit of a I really don't want to do a full backstage, so we're gonna kind of cheat it. Yeah, I've heard very good things about St. Louis. It's definitely on my list of places I'd like to go that are probably somewhat feasible. I went to Detroit somewhat recently, and that one was really good. We're just going to make a very simple keeper get in, keeper get out kind of enclosure. Backstage. Not a. You mean to St. Louis? That's. It's a couple of times. I'm upset that the Audubon Zoo does not have participate in the reciprocal program. Unfortunately, a lot of the zoos that I want to go to don't participate in the reciprocal program. That's true. I forgot St. Louis is a free zoo. Yeah, my local zoo's like I don't know how many miles, probably 15 to 20, maybe a little bit more. It's about a 30-minute drive. Oh, I hate building doors on staff gates. Oh, nice. Because they do not participate in the AZA reciprocal program. It's awful. Is that anything important? No. Or is it? No. But I would definitely, if I'm including Tennessee Aquarium in my zoos list, it's... Jeez. If I include aquariums in my top 10, I guess I'll be top 10 zoos and aquariums. It's probably Tennessee at number 2. And Georgia at number 3. Then probably Detroit. Man, I hate doing this. Nope, that ain't gonna work. It's got a ton of rare species, but I'm not a giant saltwater person. Just, I'm much more of a freshwater fish person. To me, Tennessee feels more like it could kind of pass as a zoo and aquarium. I don't know if that's because it has like... I really don't know why that is. But Tennessee, for me, just feels more complete. Also, I'm not convinced on belugas in captivity, really. I'm agnostic towards them in captivity, but I probably lean towards... because I haven't studied them enough to really say, oh yeah, they should or they shouldn't. But I'm inclined to think that they should. Inclined to think belugas probably shouldn't be kept in captivity unless you've got a really, really good enclosure for them. Again, just an inclination, but... I know everyone loves to hate on the Dallas World Aquarium, but I really... Oh, that is interesting. Was it at least a good habitat? I'm guessing no. Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look into any research on whether they're actually... I don't know if what their stereotypical behavior is and how commonly it manifests. Yeah, we're just going for the most basic of doors. Okay. Okay. We got to see both of my zoo's black bears this last time, which it's funny. It was for Mother's Day for my wife, and I was not going to the zoo. I was doing my best. It was when you were at the Tennessee Aquarium because you were asking me for what I wanted pictures of. I remember, and I was at the Botanical Gardens at the time looking at some soft-shelled turtles. Um, and then my wife was like, "These are just plants. Let's go to the zoo." And I was like, "Okay, say no more." And both the black bears were out. I gotcha. I can say I have not seen any stereotypical behavior in my zoo's bears. Um, I think the only thing I really have left to do with this enclosure is design signs, which I have not done yet. So I think we're going to put this on hold. We might put a vending machine in here. Because that feels... Yeah, polar bears, I know. The Detroit Zoo, while having a pretty decent polar bear, I would say that they were kind of pacing along in a very small part of their enclosure. Oh, that's right, you can't select multiple of these. I've heard North Carolina has a pretty good enclosure for them as well, so we'll have to judge. I wish we had more doors that actually fit the wall. Like, this one works well, but... like, how can you give us doorway pieces and then none of the in-game doors actually fit the door? That's going to get me to 85%. Huzzah! Now, let's do... I need to... Speaking of the Tennessee Aquarium, so we need to do some... We need to do this room. Because, it kind of... the save kind of killed it. But before we do that, I want to do a little bit of signage work in these two areas, mainly because Saturday I'm trying to make a video of touring this area, and I need to get the signs actually in here. Because these signs are boring as crap. So let me just go over to Canva. I made the signs today. Download page. What did I get a link to? Oh. Downloads. Need to rename. You'll just gotta hang in for a second while I move all this over, but I promise you it's gonna be worth it because these signs are really good in my opinion. Only a couple more signs. Download page, at least for this section. I thought bald eagles were at least vulnerable, but they're nothing now. Which is great. Don't get me wrong. But it is fun to change the color on a sign. I think this one is the whooping crane. Like, it's great. My brother saw one while door dashing, actually. It's actually remarkably hard to find native endangereds for some. Yeah, no. I didn't know alligator snapping turtles were endangered. That was one that was surprising to me. Because I was going to do the Perdido Keep beach mouse, but it's a subspecies, and so the IUCN doesn't care about it, even though it's critically endangered. My zoo is only one of 5 zoos that have it. We got it from the Brevard Zoo. All right, let's see. Okay. I think staff, after I realized it and had already changed my event, they said, "Oh, you know, it's okay. We know that they are endangered, and I had already worked on the event, so." Oh my gosh. Okay, I haven't taken a look at too many of these yet, but and it's almost impossible to read in game, of course. Is this the lighting issues? If so, I think I know how to fix those from Goron. I think he said as long as you just open them in Planet Zoo or in paint.net. I love the signage. I hate that I'm going to have to do this signage for so many species. Ah, yes, I've done it. There we go. That's how it's meant to be. It's much more readable. Get out of here, in-game sign. I'm gonna try not to toot my own horn too much with these signs. Gonna try. Do we think it needs some sort of edge, or does it look good like that? Maybe not an edge, but nice. I mean, you gotta love herp tiles. Tri-State Zoo is very much herp tile heavy. Actually, probably string is gonna be. Especially when you live in Tennessee, where you've got such a great herp tile possibility. What's your favorite animal group, Forge? If you've got one. There, that kind of makes it look a little bit more stable. Maybe. Gotcha. Don't say that around ZSU. They're a bunch of mammal haters. I like mammals, but I'm a herptile guy. Reptiles and amphibians are my jam. Hence the fact that I've got a tortoise and an anole as a pet. So now I need to actually go to my Gotcha. African elephants. The boringest of boring. I'm kidding. I used to love giraffes. And I do. For mammals, I really love mustelids. That's why the Detroit Zoo has to rank so highly for me, as they have my favorite mammal, the wolverine. It's probably also my favorite animal overall. That and the Komodo dragon. Crocodile monitor ranks pretty highly as well. We were talking in Gore on stream that Planet Zoo probably won't do crocodile monitors because it refuses to do lizards that can climb and give them actual climbing. Yeah, my wife really loves bears. So, yeah, that would be a cool one to see. I know almost nothing about them except that they're super rare in captivity. But I love wolverines, I love fishers, Basically, I love martens the most. Probably why I made a D&D character based off of one. Let's save the Bardell one. Because for some odd reason, we have to save it in paint.net to make it not glowy. Thanks, Goron, for that obscure bit of info. Maybe I'll keep that there. I'll just go for put it in the crap. Oh, nope. I guessed wrong. Where is our bald eagle? Oh, over there. She's hiding. This is probably the best enclosure in ZSU for bald eagles, just husbandry-wise, because of the donut shape, if I'd have to guess. Now the last. I know one zoo I'd love to go to, which is Houston Zoo, and that's largely influenced by. It's largely based off Callum doing a full, or attempting to do a full recreation of the Houston Zoo. But this enclosure is largely based off of the Audubon Zoo's whooping crane enclosure. Except they have a glass fence. It's a very cool looking enclosure. I think my local zoo was going to try and do that, but I don't think they ever did. Oh, we should make sure. Oh, oopsies. come on. Is it not working for this guy? Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah, Houston Zoo's Pantanal is a very cool looking enclosure. Of course, I'd love to go to Bronx, but that's probably not going to happen anytime soon. I'd love to go to San Diego, but that's probably not going to happen anytime soon. So I'm trying to focus on the best in the Southeast right now. So Nashville, North Carolina, and Audubon are all on my very short list. And hopefully this summer, if I can make that work, which I should be able to because I'm using the remaining 3 weeks of my parental leave. Okay, cool. And that works. Yeah, you ever want salamander species, you know, I've got a couple to breed. There are, except they won't ever give me the Georgia blind salamander. It won't do it. Oh, I need to do new signs for all of these guys. These guys are unfortunately Florida salamanders slash these are Gulf Coast salamanders, so and this is an Alabama endemic, so you and I don't have a breeding pair of this guy. I think these guys are also Florida and Georgia. What in here could you maybe want? Marbled, tiger, red, red-backed spotted. Nice. I love hellbenders, snot otters. Yeah, this is another endemic. You've already got the green. I'm trying to improve my cave species. I was thinking about doing the Yoink event and doing Mammoth Cave National Park, but I decided against it. So we got another hour. What if we build off of this house and we do the next part? Do I want to do this one? I think I might want to go for more of a rustic Indonesian brick. Then should probably Boom. Except I actually want this to be stacked null path, because guests aren't going in there. Species search. It's not an actual brown-throated sloth, obviously. It's a male Hoffman's. Say he's rescued from Sloth World. How about that? Yes, this one. None. That's right. I remember the difficulty in... Yeah. So if I remember correctly, what I was trying to do in here was go and... But I think I can do this better now. Yeah, I can do this better with the zoo round. Because we're also going to have a kinkajou in here. So what I want to do is make all of this be totally climbable for the kinkajou and the tamarins that are going to be in here. Because I feel like it looks weird. Only one species can climb. I guess it's not a big deal if... Yeah, I'd imagine that, like, this sloth nest here would be a home for them. Hopefully. But we'll try and include some others as well. Please work, please work, please work. Yeah. I think I actually liked it the way I had it first. Which was using this bamboo. What we should do also is let's make the barriers, let's do this in the smart way that we never do. make sure that we get the exhibit box in order, get the kinkajou and the other species in here. Beforehand, because technically we only need staff to get into it one way. Technically that will work. And let's get animal trading. We want a kinkajou. And what gender do we have? We have a female kinkajou. We want our red-rumped agouti, who's a male. This is like a very, we've got some South American species. Let's put them in there. And then we've got golden lion tamarin, of which there's not really a mod for, so I'm doing the golden head. But we're gonna do 2 males of that. I want to see them good in here, and I want to see them able to climb this. Hopefully they can register that. And we're going to figure out how we want to do this. Any chance that they can climb up this? We'll have to try again in a bit. We'll have to see if we can. Also, we need to split this group so that it doesn't drive us completely insane. Luckily, everything is at 15 degrees angles of each other, so that's easy at least. Grab the wrong arrow again. Of course. This blue one here. See if we can grab all these. Will these just nice and easily pour it on over? Of course not. It's gonna want to be difficult. No big deal. Probably going to use some of the exact same tree techniques that we used in the ocelot enclosure, because cohesion or something. All in line. Now once we finish the full tower, I bet it will slide into place nicely. And I'll probably make adjustments to these because I know that not all of these are directly at a 45-degree angle of each other, but ooh. Let me go take a peek. Yoink. Did you draw? You drew all these. Oh gosh. Nice. I love these. I love slimy salamanders. Did you draw these on paper and like stain them? Did you stain them digitally? Also, I love marbled salamanders. I didn't realize I loved them so much. Oh yeah, salamanders are great. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Wow, looks good. Okay, looks good. I suck at like digital drawing. I can do like vectors digitally, but I can draw like by hand decently. Yeah, someone at our church, she works at our local state parks interpretive center. Did I not move one over there? I did not. So, and she is a big fan of salamanders, so she's taken me backstage for like for my birthday. My wife and I went over there and did like a tour of their facility where they got like three tiger salamanders. I think that's about the only salamanders they've got, but they're so much bigger in person than I realized. They're such a cool species. And I got to hold a bunch of snakes. That was cool. Gotta love holding. What I held a few corn snakes. Gotcha. I've been tempted to try and do like physical drawings of my zoo, but also I feel like yeah, no, I mean tiger salamanders are kind of like the basic ones. They're like the most basic. They were one of my first salamanders. It was them, the uh, spotted-tailed salamanders, and the Alabama water dogs were my first like salamanders. Which realizing the Alabama water dogs probably should not have been one of my first salamanders. I don't think they're actually kept in captivity, but I guess other water dogs are, and that's why staff let me have them. I don't know, because I was looking today, because I was like, why do I keep getting rejected on Georgia cave salamanders when I'm pretty sure a bunch of people in ZSU actually have them? They're not held in actual zoos, but I think they're pretty widely held in ZSU. All right, you too, Forge. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, this is quite rude of the game. All of these are going to require tons of little minor adjustments. That's all stuff I can do off camera. I just want to get the whole habitat kind of blocked in. Nothing can be climbed yet. That's okay. That is a-okay. do that. Let's see. Okay, now the really fun part. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Oh, let's see if we can get this kind of put into place. I'd like to get the animals climbing on it before the end of the stream. So we got half an hour to make sure these species can actually climb. Let's set that as our goal. Within half an hour, we want animals to be able to use this. I'm not even going to say entire climbing frame, I'm going to say the majority of this climbing frame. think that's a reasonable goal. Here we go. All right. Let's get a status upgrade on if these guys can climb at all. Hold on. We've got a line. Looks like it might be semi-unbroken. Interesting. To see. Guess there's nobody over here. Alright, so it seems like maybe we're able to get some of these down. That's sort of coming along. wish it could just snap on like that. Boom. Now I want to see Callum's got a whole new lemur set. Like, see if we can get some of these climbing frames in as well. Maybe the short ones. Oh, hey, clever agenda. We are mixing the red-rumped agoutis, and they're supposed to be golden lion tamarins, but we don't really have an up-to-date mod on them, so we're using the golden-headed lion tamarins. I think that's it. And then over here, we have the ocelots. So, unfortunately, I don't think any of Callum's blueprints are actually going to work for us. But I still want to try to see if I can fit these in. They're just tall. Don't think I want this building to be that tall. If I get it... Oh, we still need to do lighting inside of this building. Oops. That's the thing I always forget, because Planet Zoo just decides... Oh, we're gonna have to make it tall because of these, so... Make this a 2-story. Oh yeah, mods are great. How's it going for you, Clever Agenda? Are you building anything right now, or just kind of watching? Good. Yeah, we could, but it kind of goes against... This is meant to be like a historic area of town. I don't really feel like sloped roofs would be a huge thing. Plus it adds some height difference. Probably for the best. Gotcha. That's right, y'all are an hour ahead of me. I'm about to be in that boat. In the next 20 minutes, I'm supposed to have this enclosure for the species to be able to climb most of their climbing frame. That's my goal. Thanks. Let me give you a short little tour of the zoo. Like just the shortest of tours. Yeah, I know we're in a couple of mixed we're in a couple of shared discords with ZSH and Bro Nation, and I think you just joined the Zoof server as well. I'm in pretty much all of the and then you're in Kingpins as well, right? I'm trying to remember. It all blends, all the discords blend together. Forge was just here, but you missed him by a little bit. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm not as active on that one. It's one of the servers that I kind of joined later and been able to. I need to really get back into doing something in that one. Okay, obviously this is not what the interior is going to look like for forever. I think we might change this to this because I feel like this is less jarring than the blue. Also, that's going to be covered up by a wall. I guess what I could also do is why can't I put it there? Yeah. Perfect. Then I just want to put this along here. Yeah, and I'll give a brief tour. Then we're going to see if we can put some of Callum's blueprints in. Such a long enclosure. At first I was worried that it would... Yeah, I do too. It really looks like I can really delete this. Well, probably shouldn't, because it kind of tells me what I need to cover up. Gives me the small town old-timey look to it. This is not going to stay that color. I'm going to either... It's going to be like that. Okay, so let me give you a short little tour of Tri-State. Golly, it's gotten huge. It's kind of crazy to zoom out every once in a while. Also, I've gotten a lot better at building parking lots, so these were way too tiny, but kind of here's the entrance. Probably going to rework this entrance area because it's not necessarily how they're supposed definitely going to have to rework some of the entrance area. But you got kind of a gift shop in here. Oh yeah, you mean the interior? Yeah, we for sure will. This is the home invader's house, which is going to have to be completely reworked as well, because I deleted a bunch of stuff in it. But you got a lot of animals in here that frequent trash cans, stuff like that. So we've got rats. So that's some of our most unfinished stuff, actually. We're nearing completion of this area. I do want to put a little bathroom over here. But this is for eastern chipmunks. The interior of this area is still a little rough, because we got to finish the insect area. And then we've got our red squirrels in here. Groundhog will go in here. I said quick tour. So we've got all of our squirrels in this area. Thank you. Our small raptors are going to go in here. Still need to build their habitats. Then you've got some sort of your medium-sized animals like a bobcat. Fisher goes in here. Oh, nice. That's actually would be a really great photo opportunity. Then the porcupines, which can't actually climb, which is sad. And then we've got our reptile house in here, and some wild boar, or feral pigs. We'll just do a quick little look-see through here. Again, this is our safari, which still needs a lot of work, but it's got our whitetail deer, sandhill crane, and turkey habitat. Come on, you can get through there. Still need to work on this bridge, but a big cichlid tank in there. We've got our aquarium building, which still needs a good bit of work, but this is for beavers. This is all in ZSU as well, so I have to get my species through a Discord server. So for things like this, the North American river otter, I don't have an otter yet, so that's kind of just placeholder. This will be Alabama in the Cretaceous period. Then we've got some prehistoric predators, gar and sturgeon, and there's a bowfin in here somewhere. This is our riffle tanks, which are this kind of cascading creeks and pond sliders. Little crayfish in here. And then this is our sports fish gallery, which is probably the most incomplete portion of it. But that comes out to our... We still got to do a few more tweaks in here, but our Baldwin family wetlands, which gets you onto the boardwalk. Here you could go to either the wetlands walk or the treetop trails, which is the latest section I've been working on, but actually I've got a video coming out hopefully Saturday on that one, so I'll not show off that one too much. But we've got harriers, red-tailed hawks, black vultures, and ravens. Oh, and then we're gonna... Probably that building got a lot of pictures taken because it's been a pain to work through. We've got long-eared owl in here. This will be for golden eagles. This is our great horned owl, which we're using the Iberian eagle owl mod if I could find it. I think I put her up here. I don't know. There's an owl in here somewhere. Somewhere. Okay. And then here we've got the muskrat habitat. Of course, I don't have anything for the muskrats, so we're just pretending like it's a thing. This is our Appalachian Conservation Cabin, where we've got skunks in here. Coyotes are in here. This is kind of was my crowning joy, was these three habitats of the. Oh, you mean on these? This was a bunch of just using these small, well, I just kind of lined up this mesh with this around and just kind of copied it over. I kind of feel like I cheated on these because originally I had these post out like this as well, but that became a little bit too difficult for me. It's just kind of lining up one small section and then copying it over, really. Yeah, we've got red wolves over here. And the idea is that these animals would be able to rotate like weekly or whatever between these three habitats. So inside we have a bunch of interconnecting tunnels. That's totally unnecessary. But then down here we've got our black bear habitat. Yeah. Meshwork can be quite annoying. So yeah, we've got our American black bear habitat here. Though, in theory, red wolves and coyotes could be in here. We've got our turkey vulture aviary here. And then our American kestrel aviary over here. Mountain lion aviary, which is probably the most complicated mesh I've done, as you can kind of tell. In hindsight, I should have shrunk this habitat by a good portion, but this is our salamander and some turtles. But mainly salamanders and frogs. And these signs are all going to be redone, but it works for now. I think that's pretty much the whole zoo. And then the safari. Huh. It's kind of going for lower budget, except for a few areas. A few are higher budget areas. Especially this aquarium is probably... This area right here is probably the highest budget area of the zoo. I guess I didn't show either. We've got a farm. Farm over here. Badgers. Gotta rebuild this, but... And then some quail are in here. Basically what we have to finish is we're going to have an Everglades house here. We've got this, which is our invasives slash non-native pet species, basically. So exotic pets. And then we're going to have an aquarium like here, or saltwater. Oh, yeah. And then we've got the burrowing owls over here with the gopher tortoises, which I don't actually know if they're in here, now that I think about it. and then the indigo snake. There will be a crested caracara aviary on this side. Okay. See if we can get some of these to... Actually, let's see if we can get a larger section of one. That might be a little too much. Yeah, no. I feel like a complexity meter would absolutely, like, frustrate the heck out of me. Okay, yeah, there's too much going on in that one. Like, I can maybe use this one and just delete a few sections. Maybe not even delete. I've played a little bit of console, and it's an experience I do not want to relive. I'm most definitely not a console player. Um, Maybe we can put like that there. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, no, you do good for console. I just can't do it. I can't do it, Chief. I feel like we're gonna need more species in here. You know what? If they can use half of this, pretty darn happy with how it looks. Okay, sloth. Poor red rumptacuti. I've only got one. What could I fit in here? What's a good South American species that could go in here? Hmm. I love the floaty jumps. Yeah, I have macaws. I just don't know how macaws pair with, like... I know macaws can be a little finicky. So last thing of the night, let me just... Yeah, so I've got great green macaws. Uh, Or Buffon's macaws, I think they're called. So let's just look up macaw in this. See what species they're kept with. Other macaws. It's basically just a big military macaw. Scarlet macaw, macaw. Amazons, toucans, slider turtles. Yeah, it's not looking great for us. Curacao, swan, ducks, squirrel monkeys. That's a zoo in Israel. Some of these zoos, I've not been impressed by any zoos in Israel that I've seen. Like, if it's a zoo from some parts of Asia, usually they'll just throw in things together. Um, and so a lot of the times I don't trust their mixed species. A Brazilian porcupine wouldn't be the worst pick in the world to add into here. As far as birds, I don't know. We'll have to ponder that and come up with a solution another time because I am out of time. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We got a good bit done. Especially loving this ocelot habitat. But I'll catch y'all later. I'm going to the Audubon Zoo this weekend, so there will be no Friday stream. Maybe. Maybe. I'll have to see. But yeah, I'll have to catch you later. Thanks for tuning in, Clever Agenda, and for everyone who's tuned in so far.